guys, it's Miss Coconut. So fall is fast approaching, and this is the time that spiritual people start to prepare the home for the harsh winter, just like all of our ancestors did when the harvest time neared. That is the time to reap what was sown, and to prepare the home, you would make sure things are dry, things are stocked and stored. So the idea of making prosperity incense comes from that background, okay? And so what I want y'all to get in the habit of, and y'all know I love to shop, right? So I love buying money incense, prosperity spray, powders, whatever. But the reality is all of that is mostly synthetic. So if you want something with some power or cachet behind it, you have to craft it yourself. And as a spiritual worker or a witch or blitch or whatever you call yourself, priestess, a priest, a wizard, warlock, whatever it is, you should be in the habit of creating these products for your home yourself, okay? This is a very meditative experience because you're going to put thought behind it. You're going to figure out the herbs that you want to use. What is the feeling that you wish to evoke with the herbs and woods and resins that you pick? There is a gamut of things you can use, okay? But typically when you make your own incense cones, you are going to create it with some type of herb, some type of resin, some type of wood, and then you need a binder and you need water. It's very simple to do. I love the idea of getting in the mood for a craft like this, and so maybe it's on a evening, if there's a little chill in the air, and it kind of goes along with the whole idea of I'm preparing for fall, I'm preparing for the winter. You will prepare these now while it's still a little warm outside because you need time for them to dry. These are going to go in a dark place that's cool inside the home, and you're just going to let it dry. No sunlight. Let it dry for about 2 weeks. You'll know when it's done because it's just like clay. It'll get hard and uniform in color. If they're not fully dry, they won't burn correctly, okay? So that's how you know they're not dry yet. So some of the herbs that I'm using today, I'm using the star anise or anise. I'm using some cloves, cinnamon, of course, my mint, vetiver, and I did add in some dragon's blood as well. You can use what you like. You can use citrus, dried citrus. You can use roses, lavender, ginger, oranges, limes. It's at your discretion, okay? And the resins, you can use copal, dragon's blood. I'm using gum arabic, actually. And some of the woods that you can use would be like Palo Santo. You can use pine. You can use cedar. I'm using vetiver. And you can actually go outside and pick off the pine tree a lot of these things to actually make an incense cone with, Now, when you grind this up, you have to grind it very fine. And you'll see, like, near the end, I got a little tired. So there's a little, few pieces that should be a little smaller, but that's okay. These are just for me. I'm not selling them. When you put this together, you want to make sure that any liquid you add is sort of like you're making anything, like a bread from scratch or something. You add your water in little by little so that you don't oversaturate it, because once you put it in, you can't take water out. You would have to add more material, okay? So add your water in sparingly, and you want it to be the consistency of soft dough almost, okay? Where it's not squishy and liquidy. It's more drier to the touch because you need to form it, okay? You need to shape it, make it malleable. I always mess up a word every video, don't I? Anyway, Now, to bind it, right, so that it stays together during the burning process, a lot of people use Mako. You have to order that online, but you can also use honey. You can use gum arabic, and some people actually just use water. If you use the water, then I think you should use less product to make the cones, that the cones are smaller, okay? And what I recommend is grinding everything up very finely. And then the resin, it works better if you freeze it for a little bit, and then you're able to grind that up separately. And then you add all of that together, and in a clockwise motion, you're actually going to stir it up to mix it and incorporate the resin into the herbs and spices that you've ground up. What would really help here is one of those handheld grinders. A lot of traditional people feel like this should all be done by hand. Introducing anything electric kind of takes away from the power of it. So it is what it is. But this is now all of the herbs and resins and woods that I use finely ground up, and I'm preparing to add in the water little by little until I get it to the consistency that I want, that's going to work for me to be able to shape it, okay? And then once you do that, you are going to spend a little time in meditation as you're shaping them. And these are for prosperity. So you would be speaking words of power that relate to abundance and prosperity, and keeping the money in the home, and making sure that there's always enough, and that there's overflow and abundance, and that the cupboards, never go bare, and that the refrigerator is stocked, and you have more than enough of your choice of what you desire to eat and drink, and that you never have to worry about paycheck to paycheck, and that your bonuses and your raises are coming, that you're getting better opportunities. So you want to speak life over your situation, over your family situation, everyone that's associated in the household. When it comes to wealth, you should be also praying and speaking life over that situation, so that everyone is gaining prosperity in each area of their lives when it comes to money, okay? And so here's my spoon. This is my spoon I make my prosperity rice with. So yeah, it's green. So I didn't bother to try to, take that dye off, because that was some good juju there. So I left it there. So you should use wood utensils as much as you can in your work. And then you're going to make sure that it is dry enough to take a shape, okay? So I'm patting it with my hands, and I'm very pleased with the consistency of my mixture. And now I'm going to prepare my cones. And you simply take the cones, take a little bit, pinch a little bit of it off, and you're going to shape it just like a little cone that you see in the stores when you buy them, like a little Hershey's Kiss, okay? So it's very simple. It's not hard at all. I think you would enjoy this craft. And like I said, because you're doing it and you're selecting which herbs and different resins and woods to use, it's going to be more powerful, okay? Because you're doing it. You selected it from start to finish. It's only you whose hand has touched it all. So there's no third and fourth and fifth parties involved in this. It's just you. So it's going to be like your spirit is coming in connection with your product that you're making. And when you finish these and you burn them, it's going to be a much more pleasant experience. It's going to be a much more powerful experience, because this is something that you created. You did not buy it, right? You don't have to worry about your burning synthetic, you're burning poison, and things of that nature. Now, I'm not going to be a hypocrite, because I do still buy other incense in the stores, because I can't help it. I love it. But there are times when I definitely feel more inclined to do things like this, to do these type of crafts, because in my book, this is, part of your journey. learning how to create from scratch, right? This is how you learn how to cook. Okay, you start with your ingredients, figure out how they work, why they work, and then you figure out what to do with it. And I think it's important in your journey as a spiritual worker of any sort or practitioner of any sort to learn how to prepare very basic tools, witchy tools that will enhance your practice, protect your home, and bring in the money, prosperity, abundance unto you. All right. And so the next thing I want to talk about is when you are formulating and you're figuring out which ingredients to use, consider using things you already have. And if you don't have a grinder, be prepared to do the manual labor with your mortar and pestle. So you definitely need one of those. And you want to use water that's blessed, but if you don't have water that's blessed, use distilled water, okay? It's very simple. And so what if you don't have a mortar and pestle? You could, buy a special, hammer. You could buy a special, those crab tools. You could buy something like that. And I mean, there's ways to get around it if you really need to, okay? But the bottom line is you have to crush it up. You can use a rock, but you got to crush it up. It could be a special rock that you anoint and dedicate for the money work, but it has to be able to work, okay? And then with the herbs, like I said, you use what you have. If you go to your international section, the little packets that I show, those are about $1, $1.19. Very affordable. Or you can go to the dollar store. They have the ground seasoning already, like pumpkin pie and cinnamon and clove. So you don't even have to grind anything up. You can just mix up the powder, add your binder and water, and voila, it's done, That's even easier. And if it wasn't for the fact that I wanted to use what I had, I would have gone that route because I like easy crafts. I don't like to really get involved in a lot of ceremony anymore. I did that earlier on in my journey because I wanted to learn and grow and be and do and experience and be able to say, what works or what didn't work. But now I am more about shortcuts with a lot of things. Not everything, but a lot of things. And so I'm going to be over the next few weeks showing you different ways that we typically do things to make sure that the money comes in, that the home stays blessed with abundance and prosperity, and that the businesses that we have out of our homes are able to be productive and successful, okay? And I think the only other thing I wanted to say about the, my little censer that I'm showing that you burn the incense on, I like the idea of having a little dedicated space for money works. So that means you would consider maybe also having a little burner that you use just for money works and nothing else, because so you may have a burner that you use to burn, a protection herb or a protection incense and things of that nature, or if you want to cleanse the home, and then maybe keep a small burner separate just for money works. It just makes it more magical and it strengthens and fortifies the work that you're doing, okay? So again, once you form these, you're going to allow these to dry for about 2 weeks or so. And you will know when they are dry because when you pick them up, they will be very light. They'll be very uniform in color. And you want to keep them in a dark space and just allow them to naturally cure. Okay? So I think that is everything that I wanted to say. I hope I didn't forget anything because I really wanted to make sure I didn't. But stay tuned. Come back. Tell your friends. Keep subscribing. Keep liking. Thank you for commenting. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all for coming back when I take my breaks. I do take a lot of breaks, y'all, because I'm busy. And it's important to have balance in life. So sometimes I have to divert my energy and attention to, what's going on in the home, what's going on my job, what's going on my other channel. And then I'll pop over here, make sure y'all are good. I'm coming up with another video on a prayer ritual that I will be doing after I upload this one. And I will see y'all again next time. I appreciate each and every one of y'all. And as usual, Om Shrim Brezi.